Welcome, everyone. I hope that you're having an amazing day. Honored to be connecting in with you. And today we're going to talk about building a life you love. I'm excited. I hope that you are. We want to help you build a life you love, not one that you need a vacation for, or you're waiting to someday enjoy, or have this list of things that you want to maybe someday, when you eventually reach whatever point that is, be able to do, but actually to build a life you love that you don't need a vacation from, that you can really authentically, truly be who you are and share that with the world. How exciting that is. And I want you to just take a moment and see how that feels. Try it on. How does it feel to be able to build a life you love and live that every single day? So, as you're feeling that, I hope that you're looking forward to the conversation. We have two amazing experts that are going to be sharing from their wisdom, their expertise, their journeys to support you and help you gain tips, insight, perspectives, a new way of looking at things to help you really build a life you love. So I want to encourage you to be present. There's a reason you're here today. There's a reason you're tuning in. There's something here for you. So be open to receiving what that is. Be curious to see what you're going to discover. And I encourage you to take notes when you have that moment of something that just touches your heart, touches your spirit. That's an opportunity for you to capture that, to write it down, and actually start to bring it into reality. Not as someday maybe I'll get to add it to my list, but actually start to interact with it. So writing it down helps you do that. So it's not just swirling around in you, but it's coming into reality. As you're leaning in with excitement, with anticipation, looking forward with great curiosity to see what you'll discover, I want to encourage you to be fully present. Really give yourself the gift of this time, not multitasking, choosing to be here, open, and receive. In fact, let's take a moment and become really present. Taking a breath in through your nose, all the way to your toes. Even wiggle your toes. Want to make sure oxygen's getting everywhere. Beautiful. As you take that deep breath in, picture breathing in all this beautiful support and information, insights, and perspectives that are so supportive of you. Breathing out, releasing what no longer serves, creating room and space for more. As you breathe and you slow down to become truly present, I want to invite you to close your eyes. You're absolutely safe. This time is for you. And just notice how that feels. Continue to take those beautiful breaths in, all that supportive oxygen, and out. And as your eyes are closed, I want to invite you to put both hands on your heart. And notice the beat of your heart. And as you're noticing that and tuning in, notice the little pause in between the beats. In that still, quiet space, what is your heart whispering to you today? What is it sharing with you, reminding you of? What is it that you need today to support and empower you that you're willing to receive because you have choice? So, what is it that you need today or you're being reminded of? Just take a moment and receive that information. Beautiful. Take another beautiful breath in. Open up your eyes. Become fully present. Wonderful. And take a moment and write down what was laid on your heart that you need, are willing to receive, or perhaps a reminder. We're moving so fast in life, and there's so much that demands or pulls at our attention that we can miss that still, quiet voice whispering to us. And it's so supportive, it's so encouraging, it's so empowering. So, really receive its message today and write it down, bring it forward. As we take a breath together, I'm going to go around our virtual room here and have each of our amazing guests just share for a moment what was laid on their heart when they took a moment to stop, pause, and listen. For myself, I just felt peace, almost this expansion. There's enough time and room and space for all. And this time to just kind of be. That's what I felt in that still quiet space. Camilla, I'd love to hear from you. What did you feel or hear?
First of all, thank you so much. That was beautiful.
You're welcome.
I heard to enjoy it,
Hmm.
to just such a reminder of all of the amazing things that I have going on that I'm doing to actually remember to do them with joy. And then I kind of saw how my life was opening up to opportunities that I don't yet know are coming,
Mm,
and not necessarily opportunities towards success, but opportunities of adventure to live more of what life has to offer.
I love that. Joy and expansion and anticipation of what is and
Yeah.
is coming. I love it. Beautiful. Thank you. Erin, how about you? What did you hear or feel?
Well, I will echo Camilla. I love the way you brought us in today, and I love the way you brought us home to our bodies. And the word that came up for me was presence, which I genuinely feel is the greatest gift of all for
Mm,
yourself and for those that you claim to want to serve. And I think that there's a common theme right now that I've been hearing in lots of different rooms full of women that may have achieved some levels of external success, but there's a lot of exhaustion, a lot of overconnected, overcommitted, overwhelmed, and even a little bit of loneliness. And the answers lie in the stillness, in the presence. And I think just the way you brought us in was just so important. So I hope that everybody who's listening is feeling that energy of peace and calm in their nervous system, because I genuinely feel that the regulated nervous system unlocks the pathway so much faster than the overwhelm and the chase and the exhaustion.
thank you. I appreciate you sharing. And it feels better too. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That presence, that connection instead of that just overwhelm and chasing and running and all of that other energy. Yeah, it feels good to be present and connect and um, that's enough that we get to just be with each other and connect in this space and time. Beautiful. Well, thank you, Erin. I appreciate you sharing. And listeners, I'm curious about what was laid on your heart and your spirit, what you noticed, what you felt as we came together and took a moment to just consciously, intentionally, purposely connect in with ourselves and with each other. And we're going to our first commercial break. And as those commercials with updates and information we want you to be aware of are playing in the background, I encourage you to use those 2 minutes for you to be present, to receive, and just see what is continuing to come forward. As Camilla and Erin have shared, is there more that's added to as you've been processing and kind of receiving what you've experienced? So enjoy these 2 minutes, and we will continue our conversation shortly. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes. Isn't it amazing how quickly our energy can shift when we stop and pause and intentionally breathe and become present? We have these commercial breaks, these pause moments throughout the show today. I encourage you to use them to be present and really process and integrate what's speaking to your heart and to your spirit. They are there as a gift to support you on your journey as we come together today. I'm excited to introduce our first guest, and this is just a snapshot. My introductions are just giving you a little bit of a taste of the amazing people that we're introducing you to. We always encourage you to go to their sites, look up all their details to learn more about them. But I also want you to have a bit of a perspective of who they are as we come together today. So I'm going to introduce Erin to you, who really talked about presence in our opening segment. Erin is a keynote speaker, business strategist, and champion for entrepreneurs and leaders who are done playing small and ready to step into their next level. With a background in real estate, mortgage, entrepreneurship, she brings powerful storytelling, practical wisdom, and deeply honest conversations to the table. She is passionate about helping you step into your next level. Please lean in. Warmly welcome the powerful, dynamic, and story filled Erin Bradley to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I also just want to comment on what
you
you
are
said
so
earlier.
welcome.
when you said that, just how easy it is to pause.
Mhm.
It's so interesting because it's elusive for so many people. And look at how quickly you brought us into alignment in just a few moments. So important. Thank you for doing that.
You're so welcome. I'm very happy to. And it's one of those muscles I think we build and get more accustomed to that stillness. Because I think we're really good at motion and activity. It's sometimes that presence and stillness that we can forget or miss. So thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. And I'm just excited to have you with us today. And I wanted to start our conversation with why. Why is this work of helping people step into their next level? Why is that personally so important to you?
Well, my entire life is about pursuing freedom, which is the name of my organization and podcast and whatnot. But I say that because I took a leap of faith in 2007 to go 100% commission in the mortgage space because, like most people who go 100% commission in any sales role or business ownership or anything like that, the common theme is that we're seeking freedom and flexibility, more time freedom, more money freedom, et cetera. And personally, what that looked like for me was the opposite of rookie of the year. I fell flat on my face. I had no financial safety net. I had no game plan, no confidence, and I was terrified of being seen as salesy. So within a year of being 100% commission, I had my credit cards maxed out. I had a credit card declined for a $2 cup of coffee in front of the client after I rode my bike to the coffee because I didn't have enough money for gas. So it was like real financial rock bottom. And at that time, I certainly didn't feel free, right? And out of sheer desperation, I hired a coach. Like I opened another credit card and hired a coach. And I remember thinking like, I don't know if I can afford this, but I can't afford not to. So I hired the coach and it was like, tell me what to do and I'll do it. I'm desperate. And this theme persists in all areas of entrepreneurship. When you take that leap of faith and you forego the steady paycheck, you adopt uncertainty. And what I've seen, not only in the real estate industry, but many industries, is that the mentors and the managers and the trainers, there's a drip of scarcity that comes through the training. And they focus always on more and more and more. And once you get there, you're going to feel more relaxed, more at peace, more at ease. So once I have more money, once I have more business, then I can finally feel. In other words, everything we want is in the feeling that we imagine in the having of it. And so I did what everybody else does. And I started to throw stuff against the wall and hustle and overwork myself. And inevitably things start to stick. And within a couple of years, my business blew up, but I was pregnant with my second child. And I found myself working 24/7. I was finally earning more than I had ever dreamed of, but I was drowning and becoming a
Mm-hmm.
shell of myself as a wife and a mom and a friend. And I remember asking coworkers of mine that were also women that were ahead of me in the game and their kids were a little older, like, how are you doing this? I just don't understand. And they all admitted that they work until midnight. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's the other end of the spectrum where I now had the money, but I still didn't feel free.
Mm-hmm.
And in lieu of abandoning the ship altogether, I luckily found some better type of mentorship and I started to really prioritize me and life in this arena. And the motto for my business is the goal is to build a life you don't need a vacation from.
Mm-hmm.
And it just became a series of decisions made within my business and within my life with terrifying fear along for the ride that opened the portal to a life of much more ease and joy and peace. And it didn't compromise the abundance. It actually became sort of like the baseline for abundance.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm obsessed with it because I see so many women struggling with the overwhelm and the exhaustion and the burnout. And there is a better way. And they're just two different frequencies to the same destination. And one feels light and fun and joyful, like Camila said. And, the other one feels like never enough,
Mm.
never enough hours in the day, never enough time, etc.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And I'm curious for the woman out there that is, I hear you, I want that, but I also have my credit cards maxed and I'm trying to make ends meet and I'm struggling. What would you say to them um, that are in that space trying to survive and move things forward? Is there a way they can shift frequencies or where do they start with that?
Yeah. So it's a very important and powerful question because when we're looking at the problem we're trying to solve, we're looking in the rearview mirror. And oftentimes, when people express their goals, their objective is to clean up a problem from the past rather than run towards a future that feels like joy and love and abundance and presence and all these things. So when people talk about their goals, I'll ask them, is that something you're running towards with enthusiasm and eager expectation, or is it something you're running from?
Mm.
And through the lens of neuroscience, the ways in which we can shift into an energy of our future self, tapping into a version of us that already has achieved all the goals, that has nothing to worry about, is in overflow, and beginning to embody the energy of that version of us that's calling us forth because she walks into the room differently. She shares her presence, the greatest gift of all, with people. She speaks differently, right? She holds an energy of abundance. And this is really hard work. I mean, honestly, this is the work. It starts from within and it's a reverse engineering of creating the reality that we desire. But most people are so consumed by what's not working, and what you focus on expands. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're focused on problems, you're going to see obstacles. If you're worried it won't work out, you're going to look for evidence of it not working out. If you're assuming it all works out and it's better than you could imagine, you start to see doorways that you didn't know existed before. And so I don't want to speak for too long, but there's a process that allows you to tap into the truth by looking back at unexpected opportunities, unscripted blessings, relationships, doors that opened without your force, where you can see the evidence of it. You can go back to your younger self and see where your current reality in some way, shape, or form has exceeded the expectation of your younger self. And we have evidence to know that we've barely scratched the surface. And so, much like you brought us home at the beginning of this call in just a few moments of breathing, you can also do some journaling exercises that do the same, that bring you into a state of gratitude and a state of pride for how far you've come and your resilience. And you start to see the power within you and you feel your nervous system calm. And from there, you can access the next right step. Most of us want to connect all the dots looking forward, but we can't, and it's not necessary. So when we connect the dots looking backwards, we can see how we're being guided.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing. And I love this looking back. And if you were to look back and whisper something to your younger self, maybe when you made that first move, maybe when you started to become super coachable, needing help, what would you whisper to your younger self to bring forward?
I would say, you've got this.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going. And if you've ever read the book, The Go-Giver, that was the book that changed everything for me
Mm-hmm.
and my business, because the goal is to be of value above and beyond what you get paid to do. If you're waking up every day saying, what should I do today so that I can get more clients, so I can get more money, so I can finally pay my bills, so that I can finally feel safe, then we're looking outside of ourselves and we're slapping action on a dysregulated nervous system. And then even when you get there and the money's good, you still haven't dismantled the old program of fear and scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead, what we want to do is we want to focus on, how good can I feel today, just based on the blessing of having clean drinking water and a warm bed and people who love me. Like, can I find the joy and the blessings of the abundance of the life I'm living now, even before my money circumstances have changed? And then can I seek a way to make someone else's day today? Can I seek a way to bring value to somebody, assuming they don't need my services, not attaching my personal agenda to what I'm bringing today, but just coming from a place of chasing contribution? And what I have found is, when you do this, people start to lighten up. I started to lighten up. And it allowed me to show up in my business in a completely different way than I had been taught to do. And the way that I had been taught prior to this was all about the hustle. It was all about the grind. It was never enough. And the truth of the matter is, we're calibrating to everyone we're comparing ourselves to, without realizing that we're also calibrating to their lack or their outdated program or their scarcity. And so we work from the inside out to be able to tap into the energy of peace and ease and abundance now, not as some destination that we have to earn. And it really allows us to simply see more clearly and be more present in the interactions that we're having, in such a way that we can be of value to somebody, that we can be that impact. Most people are so overwhelmed by what's not working, they're not even fully here. Like, they're physically in the room with their loved ones, but they're mentally, emotionally, energetically a million miles away.
Yeah.
And so they miss the opportunities to be of value to people. And there's just something that happens when you can make somebody else's day without attachment, that it raises the light within you, the vibration raises, the frequency raises, and all of a sudden that unexpected opportunity finds you because you're available for it. It doesn't find you on the other side of that fearful, hustle, striving, chasing.
Thank you for sharing. Lots of wisdom, and I feel perspective shifting for people listening today, and that those feelings, those things that you're chasing after, are actually available now. And you can start from the inside out. And is there something you would add to this, an intentional choice that listeners can make to start being more this way and really start shining with who they authentically truly are?
Well, there's two things that can be done. And one is, you grab a pen and paper and you literally make a list of 100 things you're grateful for. Or you go through your day looking for things to be thankful for. Like, oh, I love this. This sunrise was pretty. The weather's so nice. Every little thing, just like, oh my gosh, this day is amazing. I'm alive. And I'll tell you, I'm coming off of back-to-back funerals this past week, and I've had a lot of loss in my life, starting from a very young age. It was unusual. Like, 5 of my closest friends passed between the ages of 11 and 23. So I do have a relationship with the reality that we have no idea how much time we've got. And I jokingly say, none of us are going to get out of here alive, right? And so, since I don't know how much time I've got, and I'm not going to figure it all out today anyway, I'm going to do my best to have the best day ever today. And I'm going to look for reasons to feel good. And the better I feel, the better it gets. And the better it gets, the better it gets. And, last thing I would say is having a morning routine. It was more than 10 years ago that I read The Miracle Morning, and I started to start my day with intention and stillness. and meditation. And in the meditation, you can actually connect with the 8-year-old version of you that picked up the stress and the overwhelm and the scarcity of the well meaning adults in your life. And you can see where you adopted some energy of responsibility or emotional caretaker for everyone in your life, even to the point of depletion and all the stuff that's from the past. And then you can meet your 80-year-old self and ask her, what would you have me do today? Who would you have me be? And whenever I speak to my future self, the message is always pretty similar. It's like, relax, lighten up, enjoy yourself, be present, love hard today. Like, go make someone's day. It's always like, just loosen the grip, lighten up. You're safe, you're guided, you're good. Look at how far you've come, right? And you've got this. And I heard someone say one time, the only opinions that matter are the opinions of your 80-year-old self and your 8-year-old self.
Beautiful. Thank you, Erin. I so appreciate your wisdom, your heart, and your desire to support us in really looking at these things in practical and profound ways. So thank you very much for your sharing today. We are getting ready to go to our next commercial break. And as we do so, listeners, I promise at the end of the show, we'll let you know how to connect with Erin and go deeper. But for now, I want you to really take these 2 minutes to process, to really write down, maybe have a quick conversation with your 8-year-old self and your 80-year-old self. We'll continue our conversation in just 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes and maybe had an insightful, quick conversation with your 8-year-old self or your 80-year-old self and can add that wisdom to your page of notes as we continue our conversation today. I'm excited to introduce our next guest to you. I know you heard from her in the opening segment, talking about really bringing in joy and enjoying being present and embracing that feeling. So, Camila is the world's first sovereignty coach, founder of Soul Space, a transformational wellness brand devoted to helping heal and expand your soul's space. She is passionate about helping people reclaim self trust, regulate their nervous system. So you're hearing a consistent theme here, and creating lives aligned with their true, authentic selves, who they truly are, and are able to bring that to the world. Please lean in, warmly welcome the dynamic, powerful, and authentic Camila Greenberg to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. And it's actually Camilla.
Oh,
So
Camila, thank you. Camila, welcome, welcome.
thank you so much, Rebecca. I'm so happy to be here.
I am thrilled to have you joining us today. And I wanted to start our conversation with why. Why is this work of helping people in this way important to you?
I would love to tell you a mission statement,
Mhm.
but the truth is that my journey of sovereignty led me to this work. And years ago, I gave everything up to universe, source, God, whatever you call it, um, whatever name that is. And I said, I'm going to go wherever my heart wants to take me. And every morning I listen to my heart and that little intuitive voice inside. And it actually led me on this journey to serve people in this way. And of course, I could talk about that for hours about what the actual journey looked like. But now, serving women in this way is the thing that lights me up the most and feels most soul aligned. And it almost feels like there isn't another option for me.
Mm. And I love that decision to listen to your heart every day. How
Mhm.
powerful. I love
And
that. And
terrifying.
it's guided you on the
Yeah.
journey that you've gone on. And you are the first sovereignty coach I have ever
Mhm.
met, and I know you're the world's first sovereignty coach. So I'd love for you to explain what is that? What does that mean? And
Mhm.
why is it important when we're talking about living our authentic lives?
Yes. So sovereignty is living life on your terms. And since birth, and some would argue even in utero, you're picking up on the conditioning, the belief systems of other. You're picking up your parents' belief systems, society's expectations of you, etc. You're very malleable as a child. And so that becomes your default programming in your subconscious. And that default programming is what determines your life unless you make conscious changes. And sovereignty is essentially stripping all of that away and becoming who you were born to be. So, if you didn't have the conditioning that told you to look a certain way, pick a certain career, make a certain amount of money, live a certain place, who would you be? And that is almost a practice of listening to your heart space and the true desires and not what your head or your ego or survival brain wants and thinks is going to get them love, but instead listening to that truth. And we could even call it soul or intuition. Again, the words don't matter, but we all have touched that space inside of us. And the reason it's so important, Rebecca, is because the more sovereign we are, first of all, the more fulfilled we are, the more joyful we are, the more in service of one another and connected to one another we are. And I truly believe that our sovereignty is key to transforming this planet and humanity into a more peaceful space.
Mm. Just giving everybody a moment to drink that in. I appreciate what you shared because I think it's such a different place to live from than many of us do. And what we see or what we get caught up in. And so often I tell people, the day doesn't get to be in charge, the to-do list, you get to be. You get to make
Mm-hmm.
those choices, but it's so easy to get crowded out unless you're
Mm-hmm.
very intentional. So what would you say to somebody that says that sounds amazing, I want that, but I have all these things pulling at me that I have to do, that I have obligations for? How do they start to step more into living in this sovereign way versus the to-do list?
So, I'm really feeling called to speak on manifesting and
Hmm.
radical responsibility because we oftentimes think that we became a doctor because we chose to be a doctor or whatever, fill in the blank. And sometimes that's really our default survival brain in action. And so before I became a sovereignty coach, I was supporting everyone in manifesting. That's what I was really helping people do. And part of manifesting is radical responsibility and ownership that the circumstances of your life, even though the conditioning wasn't your fault, right? When you were a child and something happened in your home that made you fear abundance or live in scarcity or whatever happened, that wasn't your fault. And we really need to hold that inner child and let her know or him know that they're safe. And now it's your responsibility. So if you are unhappy in any area of your life or dissatisfied in any area of your life, it's not there isn't some magical woo-woo way that I can, you know, like flip my wand and just say like, boom, like it's all going to be better now. No, it's looking at it and not avoiding it, not distracting, not anesthetizing, but really looking it dead in the face and saying, this doesn't work for me. This isn't aligned with me. And coming up with some kind of action plan to move forward. But the action plan can only happen when you've really meditated or listened to your heart. And something I'll say that I think Erin was touching on is that we have to hire people, coaches, therapists, healers, whomever, somebody outside of our current situation that we can co-regulate with and we can calibrate our nervous system and our belief system too. Because if we are in it, it is hard to see the way out and it's hard to change from within that easily. So I know I'm going a bit on a tangent here, but really, once you know what you truly desire, Rebecca, then it's time to come up with an action plan.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. And I love this important reminder, life is not a solo journey. I don't know where that started, where we decided it was that we
Hmm.
pull ourselves up from our bootstraps. But I will say those moments where I have shifted most powerfully as I became very coachable, usually because I'd
Hmm.
reached the end of myself in some way and it didn't work. And I brought in a coach, a support, somebody outside of me. And it was usually at those moments, it's very hard and you don't quite know how, but you can't afford not to. Leaning in and getting that help and becoming really coachable. And that's where I've had such powerful shifts in my life when I've been willing to do that.
Hmm.
So it's so important that we remember it's not a solo journey. We can get
Yeah.
help and we can have people come alongside us and hold us and support us to move into those spaces, especially if we're going where we haven't been before. You
Yeah.
don't know the plan, you don't know the map. So getting
E-
help makes a difference.
Exactly. And I love what you're bringing up because when I say I just woke up and I listened to my heart and it led me here and it led me there, it sounds romantic, but really it it came after a massive ego death, if you will,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
in a more grounded way, I might say a breakdown.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And absolute surrender because I was an actress for almost 20 years. And
mm,
as even though I had success, I was never happy, never really fulfilled. It was never consistent. And so that's what led me to give it up and fully surrender and start to listen to something greater than my ego mind and what I thought was going to make me happy. I said, listen, I obviously don't have this right. So something show me the way. And when I humbled myself to that degree, the way was shown
mm-hmm,
by, I mean, almost in miraculous ways, step by step. And I still to this day, even having such a successful business now and supporting hundreds and hundreds of women, I still to this day have those moments in my business where I hear my mind take over and say, "Oh, we're going to do this." And then I have to remind myself, hold on, what does heart say? What does intuition say? Because that always leads to having a bigger impact.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. And I also, going back to attraction and manifesting, one of the things that you frequently say is you don't attract what you want, you attract what your nervous system can hold. So we're not always attracting what we want, but we're attracting what our nervous system can hold. Do you mind expanding on that? What does that
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah, so again, when I was talking a lot and teaching a lot about manifesting, something that came up a lot is people were manifesting things, but not, first of all, not able to hold. Like, for example, they would meet somebody, they're like, oh, it's the perfect partner. And then a month later, the relationship's over, or a lot of money, and then all of a sudden the money would leave. And so I noticed this pattern with some of my clients. And then I also noticed that a lot of the manifestations weren't actually from sovereignty, it was from conditioning. So, thinking that this thing, this circumstance is going to make me happy, make me feel worthy, make me feel valuable or loved. And when we manifest from that space, that's not going to lead to fulfillment. And we're just going to keep reaching for something else. So, manifesting from sovereignty, which can only happen by doing the inner work, a lot like Erin was saying, of going in, doing the meditation practices, the journaling, the subconscious reprogramming, and the nervous system recalibration. So, one of the things that I say is that sometimes it's not about having so much on your plate you need to take some off. It's about having a bigger plate to hold it. And that has to do with understanding your inherent worthiness and not what you have defined your worth by. If I'm A, B, and C, then I'm worthy of this. And also believing in yourself that you can hold it, which comes down to self trust. And that can't magically happen overnight. That's something that's built the same way you build trust in relationship with other. Trust in relationship with yourself is action after action after action, where you act bravely and courageously and you prove to yourself that, hey, I got you. I'm doing this. And overwhelm is, which often leads to us losing the things we manifested or not being able to hold the things we manifested. This idea and this frequency comes from a belief system that I can't do it. I'm not capable of this. So there's a lot that goes into it, Rebecca, but the nervous system capacity, um, basically widening capacity, is what allows you to attract in more. And I'll
Mm,
just say like a simple thing around this. I remember when I was wanting more money, right? I was at a place in my life where I couldn't, similar to Erin, where I was putting everything on credit cards. And I remember I said, I want more money, but the thought of more money overwhelmed me to the point where I could feel my energy resisting it.
mm,
So I had to shift belief systems and I had to recalibrate my nervous system to feel safe receiving that amount of abundance in order to receive it.
mm. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. You've given us so much insight and wisdom and really brought forward this idea, this concept of sovereignty in our own and really being able to own that. So I appreciate all that you have shared today. We are getting ready to go to our next commercial break. And as we do so, listeners, I want you to think about what Camila has shared and how can you step more into your sovereignty? Do you need to spend some time expanding what your nervous system can hold? What is coming up as you explore some of the powerful concepts that she has shared with us today? And we'll continue our conversation in just 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes. And I want you to take a look at your notes. Kind of look back at the beginning at what your heart shared with you. What are some of the things that have bubbled up or really expanded your perspective, shifted you in some ways? What are some things that you are carrying with you as you look at your notes? And I want to encourage you to give yourself the gift of some time today. So when we bring the show to an end, instead of rushing off into the day and the day suddenly being in charge again, give yourself a few minutes to really breathe in what serves, align with your heart, choose the way that you are going to step forward, something you're going to implement today, not someday, an action you're going to take based on our conversation today. And then as you step back into the world, you're stepping back into it from that perspective, in that way, being more aligned with who you are. Because the greatest gift you can give the world is more of who you truly are. And that's how we can make the world a better place. Truly, authentically showing up as we are, heart by heart, life by life, interaction by interaction. So, one of the things I've asked our guests to do is to share their contact information. This is very intentional. It's not just for drill. We want you to be able to connect. We want you to be able to go deeper. We want you to have access and connection and opportunity to go deeper with those who can support you on your journey. So, with that, Camila, I'd love for you to start. What's the best way for people to connect and go deeper?
Well, I would love if anything spoke to you, reach out to me on Instagram at Camila Greenberg. It's my name. So we'll make sure to spell it right. And then and then my website, if you'd like to learn more and even hop on a call with me to see if there's some way I can support you, it's camilagreenberg.com.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that. And then, Erin, what is the best way for people to connect in and go deeper with you?
Sure. So I also mostly hang out on Instagram, and that's at Pursuing Freedom Official. You can check out the Pursuing Freedom podcast for a ton of great free content. And I need to have both of you ladies on the show because you're both brilliant. And it's really the guests that make the show. I just facilitate. And I also just had a free resource you can find in the profile of my Instagram handle. There's a happiness and fulfillment assessment to really help you get honest with where you are in your journey towards fulfillment. And so you can also check that out at pursuingfreedom.com/happiness. And there's all kinds of goodies on the website at pursuingfreedom.com too.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing. And we have a couple of moments left. And so I'd love to tap into both of you for a final tip or something that our listeners can carry with us as we and they go forward. Because I have a page of notes as well that we can carry with us as we go back into the day. So, Erin, do you have a final tip or quote or thought that you want to share with us?
Sure. So what I'm passionate about is helping people get intimate with their limiting beliefs and their fears and realizing that fear is usually a liar. And so the process I just wanted to share is to take some time and write out, I wish I could, and then listen for the but, and then write it out. Because whatever follows but is your fear. And if your mind is saying, I can't, I have to, I need to, I should, just talk back to it and say, says who? Because it's really all that Camila talked about with sovereignty is really like says who, right? And so if you want to run towards a life you love, be okay with the non-judgmental observation of the fear that's holding you back.
Beautiful. Thank you. And it feels empowering. You know, I kind of felt a little feisty empowerment come forward as you shared that. So thank you. I love that. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Camila, how about you? Do you have a final thought, suggestion, tip?
Yeah, mine is also feisty. I wanted to say, one of my mantras in the work that I do is you can do, be, and have whatever you want. Usually I add a curse word in there, but you can do be and have whatever you want. And if there is that doubt or that fear that Erin just spoke about, I also am a very firm believer, because this is what I've practiced and this is how my clients have gained success, in the belief that being Delulu is the Salulu. You got to see it, you got to feel it, you got to become it before it can be your reality. And it's going to trigger that imposter syndrome. You're going to feel like, oh my God, who am I to blah, blah, blah. But truly, being delusional is so often going to get you into the life that you really want to live and get you out of the current circumstances that make you feel stuck.
Beautiful. Thank you. I love that we get to create our reality and step into it. Beautiful. Well, thank you both so much for joining us today. Such wisdom, practical tips that we can bring forward and really start to shift these things in our lives and build a life that we love. I so appreciate you both joining us, and listeners, thank you for tuning in and really carry this forward. You get to choose. You get to build a life you love. You get to be who you want to be. You get to follow your dreams and bring them forward. So be willing to share the amazing gift of who you are. Be willing to bloom where you're planted and shine. Share out that gift of who you are with the world. Have a